Hey there, Social 20-1 here, taking a look at our third and final source of the year. Huh, I guess when you put it that way. Of course, we're looking at sources regarding foreign aid, and so today's source is a quote from Bill Gates. Bill Gates of course, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So take a few seconds to read over the source, and I'll highlight some key passages, then we'll talk about them. Okay, that should be good enough. So again, Bill Gates, he's very involved in global and international initiatives. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has donated billions of dollars to international efforts to fight poverty, disease control, and so on. And in this case, he's talking about polio. And so, as part of this interpretation, I would establish what polio is, how contagious it is, what it does to the human body, and how it was, a very serious disease, as late as the mid 1900s. So we learned a bit on polio a couple of weeks back. Polio is a debilitating disease. It paralyzes you. It takes away your ability to work. You can't contribute to the economy. You need someone to look after you. You can't contribute really to society either. So polio was very debilitating. It was very contagious. It was found mostly in children. So talk a bit about the seriousness of polio. And if you know some numbers, use them. But at the very least, you would say, that this afflicted hundreds of thousands of people worldwide over the decades. And then thanks to global initiatives like the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, they're close to eradicating polio. They're close to getting rid of it. Um, they've cornered it. But Bill Gates says, we're at kind of a crossroads here. We've come this far. There are really only, a few cases left. He refers to them as a handful. So rather than talking about thousands, you might be talking about hundreds. Um, so we're close to getting rid of it, to eradicating the disease altogether, like we eradicated smallpox. But more money is going to be needed. In fact, $3.27 billion will be needed to eradicate polio. And so he's worried. Um, he's saying that whether or not governments have the will to do this is more of an open question than he would like to see. So if it were up to Gates, we'd finish the job. But governments are probably reluctant. I mean, we're heading into a recession in the fall here, and governments are, I wouldn't say they're going to be hard pressed, but governments might decide that that money is better spent on other things, unemployment, job creation, and so on. Um, so Gates is a little worried that we've spent billions so far to get really close to eradicating polio, but if we don't invest a bit more and completely finish it, the disease will come roaring back. And so if they don't completely eradicate it, the virus will still be out there. You've got to get every single disease down to zero, and then it can't come back. And so if they stop now, by 2029, they'll have 200,000 kids infected annually. So that's every single year. And within 10 years, they'll be back to where they started 40 years ago. And so I think, there's a few things to interpret there, but what he's basically saying is, we've spent this much so far. If we don't spend a little bit more, everything we've invested will be worthless because we'll be starting all over again. And we'll be starting all over again. So what would you rather see? Spend 3.27 billion now to finish the job and never have to worry about it again, or have to worry about this in 10 years and have to spend more than $3.27 billion dollars because you're starting all over again. That's what Gates is warning us of. And I think one more thing you might want to put in there, um, these 200,000 kids will be coming from all over the world. Like once that disease is a contagion, once again, once it's out there, it can hit Africa, it can hit Asia, it can hit North America, it can hit Canada. So it's one a call on the international community like, look, by protecting other people, even though these cases of polio may not be in your country, we still should contribute to wipe it out, because if we don't, then there could be more cases in your country all of a sudden, and what is someone else's problem could now be your problem. And that really is the gist of internationalism. You know, you need to sacrifice to help other people, other countries, even though you may not even know them, because if you don't, their problems could soon become your problems, especially when we talk about things like disease and contagious diseases and that kind of thing. Global warming, environmentalism, even conflict and poverty have ways of percolating outside the borders of the countries that they're coming from and affecting other countries by and large. And so Gates is saying let's contribute together collectively to eradicate this disease collectively. Otherwise, we all have to worry about this again. We eradicated smallpox. We did the job. We spent the money it took to get rid of smallpox. We got the vaccine. We vaccinated generations of kids to the point that you did not need a smallpox vaccination. And we never have to worry about smallpox again. And Gates is saying polio could be the same thing if we can just finish the job. So it's a call to action. In terms of links, well, we're talking about foreign aid. You know, it's going to take money to vaccinate these kids in countries that are outside of your borders. He's saying it should be part of a nation's foreign policy to eradicate polio. He's clearly calling on international organizations to help make this happen. He probably needs or wants money from the WHO, the UN, and so on. Um, by eradicating polio, you will be ensuring the safety and security of the planet from the disease, but also your people, you from the disease. Diseases don't know boundaries, they don't know borders. And as well, we're doing it because it's the right thing to do. We're helping people that need our help through humanitarian efforts. So it's a call to action from Bill Gates. For the last time, let's link these through relationships. So what we need is a theme or a concept that connects all three sources, and we connect each source concept to that theme. So to refresh your memories, there was source one, Jimmy Carter, um, and guinea worm. I'm talking about the eradication of guinea worm with some specifics that go to that. Source two was the graph. I'm just talking about foreign aid and how we're on the verge of eliminating absolute poverty worldwide, or at least reducing it to 5%, something that is manageable. Um, but also talking about we need to be careful how we give foreign aid money. It needs to be money that helps economic development, because that will end poverty on a global scale. And then finally, today's source on Bill Gates and polio. So take a few seconds and see if you can think of a way to connect the sources, and then we'll do this for the final time. Well, clearly all three sources are advocating internationalism. They're advocating international effort to solve problems both, outside of your borders, but also within your borders too. So um, internationalism could be the theme that links them, but I had to get a bit more specific. I might go with foreign aid. It's going to have to take foreign aid to filter the water to stop the spread of guinea worm. It's going to take very specific foreign aid to help countries develop economically to eliminate absolute poverty. And it's going to take even a bit more foreign aid to eradicate things we've already begun to work on but haven't quite finished with. So you could certainly go down that road. Another relationship might be, again, we need three at least. So in terms of linking them, you know, The theme could be one relationship. Connecting each source to that theme is your second relationship, which we just did. The third relationship needs to be something different. Maybe sources one and two are advocating foreign aid for disease control, whereas source two is advocating foreign aid to end extreme and absolute poverty. That could be a way that you want to look at this. Um, Other links could be all three sources are very positive in their advocacy for foreign aid and internationalism. All three sources are saying it's working. This will work. They're very positive. All three, in a way, are call to action. They're inspiring you to help, to get involved, to do something, at least your government to do something. And that could be a relationship you want to explore as well. I think that pretty much does the trick. I can't think of any other relationships, although I'm sure you can. I hope you kept up with the sources as the semester wore on, even online. I think it's the single most important thing you will do in social studies, even after high school. Um, you're learning literacy, you're applying your knowledge to things in life, and that is a very, very important skill to have. Having the ability to look at a news clipping, a headline, um, a news clip on TV, a tweet, an Instagram, something on Twitter, like I said, having the ability to look at a source, whether it's a quote, a cartoon, or a photograph, and critique it and critically analyze it will separate you from the sheep. It will make you an informed and active citizen on earth, and you'll always know the truth about things, even though other people may not. And I think that's a very important tool to have in life that will take you a long way in life. So thanks if you stayed with me to the end with our source analysis. It's only going to make you better. Thanks for listening.